Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sydney and I make videos on life, music, and faith, because that's really the source of it all, is our faith in Christ. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and if you hear some beautiful piano in the background, it's my roommate and I'm not trying to stop her. So anyways, let's get into the video. So I have one right here. Oh Lord. This is a plant, all right? As you can see, it has not been well watered. I'm gonna put some water in this after I film, because that was a great reminder. The plant, you can't see it. Maybe you can, maybe if I go like that. The plants up there, right? Those are doing phenomenal. They are thriving, they're fine. I have not watered them in months. And I was thinking about this, right? I'm thinking about, I haven't watered these plants in forever. Up there, ZZ plant and a snake plant. This is pothos, all right? I have not watered these in forever and they're fine. I have not watered that in like 2 weeks and it looks like it's about to pass. It's not gonna pass, it's just the way that it looks. They come back to life and like, as soon as I water them next day, they'll be vibrant. So I was looking at these things and I was thinking about the law of priority, all right? The law of priority. In terms of the plants, this plant right here requires more attention. You have to daily, pretty much, or maybe every few weeks, you have to water it. These ones, they're good to go. They can go like months and be okay. There might be like a little leaf to prune here and there every now and then, but those don't take up much priority. And I was thinking about that in terms of my life and how there are things that God has called me to. Areas in which God has asked me to show up in. For me, I think it's been a journey of making sure my priorities always stay as they should. I went through something and my priorities were out of whack, okay? My priorities went like, they completely switched. And it was because I did not have an understanding of the law of priority. When you keep things in their proper place, everything usually works out the way that it should work out. For us as believers, God should always, why did I say it like that? God should always be number one, okay? He should always be at the top. What does that mean? Because we say that God's first or God first. What does that actually mean? It means that his laws and his precepts and his words and his word through what he's revealed to you, through prophecy, whatever, over your life, about your life, concerning your life, that should always come first. And then maybe your spouse, and then your children, and then your job, and then your extracurricular activities, okay? If you're single like me, it's God, family, friends, things like that. Have to keep that in perspective. Now, there's an extra layer to this. If God has asked you to do something, he's already foreseen what it will take to get there, how that will align with your other desires, how that will show up in your future, and what it will require you to leave in the past. He's already thought it all through. He's like, he thinks big. We got to think bigger. He's already considered all of those things when he asked you to start that ministry, when he asked you to quit your job and start your business, when he asked you to step in or out of that relationship, when he asked you to have that child or adopt that child. Those are the most random examples. When he's asked you to do something, he's already considered every area of your life that will affect, and how that will affect you, and how he will sustain you as you walk into what he's asked you to walk into. That is always priority. And that is so important. For me, I struggle and I'm learning and working through, because I'm just trying to grow, y'all. I'm just trying to grow. I'm always going to admit my flaws because I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to get pruned so I can grow, okay? So I'm talking about plants and stuff. For me, I had to get a revelation of the law of priority in my life. For me, for example, maybe your life is somewhat similar. I know that I'm called to release the sound that God gives me. I don't know always when, I don't know always how, but he's given me a sound to release. That is priority. And if he opens doors for me to walk through, the priority is walking through that door. In my life now, he has given me a wonderful job. Okay. That job is sustaining my life, and oftentimes a lot of the things that he's called me to do in terms of the sound he's asked me to release. Music, job. He's given me wonderful friends, within my church, other ministries I'm a part of, and I'm called to love them. Okay. I'm called to love them as Christ loves them, as I love myself. And you just go down the list and you ask the Lord, what have you given me in this season, and how do you want me to approach it? I just had a friend the other day who has been really involved in this community ministry, wonderful ministry. And he has felt called to go into business. This is why community is important, because you learn so much from people. He's prioritizing his life to what God has called him to do. In this season, God has called him to focus on business and not on ministry. So he's prioritizing that. That is gonna be what's needed to be watered and nurtured every few weeks, every single day with the Lord, really. Your soul, your spirit needs to be nurtured every single day. Spending time with the Lord, acknowledging him throughout our day, asking him to make our path straight, the crooked ways straight. My church is in the year of Reformation, making the crooked ways straight, creating a highway for the Lord to come and do what he wants to do in our lives, in our city, in our state, in our nation, in our world. So I think in my own life, I've been, okay, what areas in my life are crooked? Okay. What things are off? What priorities have not been nurtured? Because if they're not nurtured, that's when your flesh begins to increase. If your spirit man is not being nurtured, which is your spirit man is often nurtured when you're spending time with the Lord and when you're prioritizing the things of God. So when you're not doing that, your spirit's not being nurtured, and it's your flesh that's being nurtured. And when your flesh is nurtured, you start to look like that plant. You start looking a little bit not so good. Your character starts not looking so good. Your desire for the things of God don't start looking too good. Your schedule starts to look a little bit less like the schedule you should have and more like the schedule that your flesh would create. And that's when you start getting weak, okay? I'm gonna show it one more time. Weak, looking weak, okay? Not appealing in any way. You start to become weak because your spirit man is so much stronger than your flesh. Okay, so when you're not feeding your spirit man, your flesh begins to rise and your flesh is weak. Okay, it's so weak. And so when your flesh begins to rise, things start getting heavy. When I was not prioritizing the things of God, when I was putting, assignments on the back burner and putting my desires on the front burner, my flesh began to rise. And I started getting weak, and things began to be heavy and hard and difficult. And that's not God's portion. That's not his best for you, to be struggling and striving and stressing and anxious and worried and all these things that come when you do not have the peace of God. And you usually don't have the peace of God when you're walking and operating in your flesh, even if you're not committing grave sins. When you're just not obeying what God asked you to do, things get heavy and hard. They might get heavy and hard when you are obeying the Lord, but there's a peace that surpasses understanding that you have in the midst of those storms, because you know without a shadow of a doubt you are doing what you're supposed to do. And I've had seasons of both, where I know I'm supposed to be doing this, and all this is resistance because I could care less. I am moving forward. God is with me. He is sending people to encourage me. Just the same amount of people that are speaking death over something, there are people speaking life over it. There are people who are strategically sent to encourage me in this area that I know God has asked me to do. That's how you know you're in God's will, and that's resistance from the enemy. When you're walking in your flesh, nobody's confirming it. Nobody's confirming it except for your delusions. Find yourself resorting to sinful thoughts, patterns, whatever, that keep you from the presence of God. And so that is a surefire way to know your life is out of order. Because when your life is out of order, it feels chaotic. I just want to encourage you guys, there are things in your life that feel chaotic and messy and all over the place. Perhaps something is out of order. Are you spending time with the Lord every day? Are you consulting him in this matter that you're stressed out in? Are you asking him for wisdom? Is he giving you wisdom? Is he showing you signs that this isn't the right way, that you should be prioritizing other things above this? Maybe it is a good thing in your life, but you're elevating it above the highest call, which is to love and serve him in whatever he asks you to do. So I just want to encourage you guys with that. That's something I'm trying to do. I know God has called me to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to focus on X, Y, and Z. The other things that fall under that, will feel, there's a peace that comes when life is in order. When your life is in order, there is peace. When my room is in order, there is peace. When the kitchen is in order, there is peace. When there's pots and pans and clothes all in my room and shoes everywhere because I've not prioritized keeping my home clean, there's unrest in that. There's striving and pushing things out the way and trying to work your way around to get one thing. It's just natural. It's a natural representation of what can go on in the spiritual. If you're too busy to do the things that you know you're supposed to do, something's out of whack. And God will show you, these things up here, these plans, these callings, these assignments, if you acknowledge me, I will keep those things going, okay? I will sustain those things. I need you to work and focus on this thing. And he will show you those things. He will sustain the other things, so you don't have to worry about that. And if those things die off when God asks you to do something, it was supposed to. Take it to the Lord. Ask God, what are you asking me to prioritize in my life right now? Help me to focus on that. Help me to nurture that as often as I need to be nurturing it. And everything else that seems to be trying to pull me away from it, God, reveal those things and, ask him to reveal the areas that are distractions versus opportunities. And, acknowledge him in all your ways and he will make your path straight. It's in the Bible, it's there for us to receive and believe and act in. I'm just sharing a lot of what the Lord is teaching me, which is a lot of along the same lines of, living in the way of Christ and being confident in that. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks guys for watching and have a great rest of your day or evening. Bye.